Hey everyone, thank you so much for joining me today. My name is Laura Train Mama. Today we are having a look at this story from the Thomas and Friends collection. It's called The Lost Puff. And how cute is this little window? Adorable. One day, the Fat Controller told the engines that a piece of track had broken at Knapford Bend. All the engines listened to him attentively, except for Paxton and Thomas. They were fooling about and laughing at a duck waddling by. "Would you two please stop fooling about?" the Fat Controller said sternly. "I wouldn't want there to be an accident." Later that day, Paxton arrived at the spot with the broken piece of track. As he went over it, his radiator rattled and made him laugh. "That was funny," he giggled. Thomas came steaming along just after him. Paxton persuaded him to go over the broken piece of track too. "Hooray! That's fun!" Thomas cried as he bounced over the track. "Firstly, you have to accelerate properly and then go quickly over the track," Paxton recommended. So Thomas sped backwards around Knapford Bend and crashed into Toby, who was there at the very moment filling up at the water tower. The water sloshed all over Thomas and put out the fire in his combustion chamber. "Oh no! The Fat Controller said that I should stop fooling about. Now it's my fault that Thomas had an accident," Paxton wailed. Feeling miserable, he rolled away from the scene to deliver the troublesome trucks that he was pulling to the shunting yards. There he heard Toby and Stafford describing how Thomas had lost his puff in the accident. Oh dear, that sounded very bad, and it was his fault. Paxton immediately resolved to look for the lost puff and give it back to Thomas. Paxton spent the whole day rushing back and forth on the island, looking everywhere for the lost puff. However, he didn't even know what it looked like. He was a diesel engine. He simply didn't know a lot about steam engines and their puffs. But he suddenly remembered that there was someone who knew everything about steam engines. Victor from the steamworks. Paxton asked in the steamworks whether Victor might have some puff to spare for Thomas. Toby was also in the steamworks at that time, and it made him laugh. "But puff is just another word for steam," he explained to Paxton. "When Thomas banged into me, his combustion chamber got wet. When their fire goes out, steam engines just can't make any more steam." Paxton now felt really silly. But when he realised that Thomas would cheerfully roll along the rails again as soon as his combustion chamber had dried, he cheered up. He quickly headed back to the water tower. From there he could hear a choo choo choo. In the distance, Thomas came steaming round Knapford Bend. "Hello, you're all right again," Paxton said with delight. "Yes, I've found my puff again," Thomas joked. "At least I've learnt something important today," Paxton said, smiling. "You mean that puff is the same thing as steam?" Thomas asked. "Yes, but I've also learnt that I should listen to the Fat Controller. When he says I shouldn't fool about, then I mustn't fool about," Paxton replied, and Thomas agreed with him. The end. That brings us to the end of the story, The Lost Puff. I really hope that you enjoyed listening along with me today, and if you did, please don't forget to hit the like button. Really helps me out. Share this video with a friend if you want to. You could even check you're subscribed if you want to. And other than that, have a great day.